Welcome to the third episode of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid readings. Today we are reading the third book in the series, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Last Straw. My book is busted for some reason, but let's continue.
Hold it right there. You think that you're just going to get an hour and a half of just someone reading? That's not content. So, us here at the CEO of Content decided to make some epic new changes to the series. Like, for example, app review of the day.
Today's app review is going to be of Mafia Mystery by Toast Developers. Most of you are probably familiar with the game. Mafia, or werewolves, or however you call it. Basically, there's one side of villagers, and there's one side that's the Mafia, or bad people. The bad people want to kill the villagers, and the villagers want to get rid of all the bad people. Well, Toast Developers make a new change to the series by making this app, which is a perfect game to play in quarantine, because you can have fun with people over the internet. There are multiple different roles to unlock in the game, so you can make it more fun, different avatars to customize yourself with, and there's a lot of content waiting. So, what are you waiting for? Go on and download Mafia Mystery by Toast Developers. This isn't a sponsor. Why would anyone sponsor me? I do readings of books, children's books.
For me, the app deserves a 4 out of 5. Now, without further ado, let's get back into the video.
January, New Year's Day. You know how you're supposed to come up with a list of resolutions at the beginning of the year to try and make yourself a better person? Well, the problem is, it's not easy for me to think of ways to improve myself because I'm already pretty much one of the best people I know. So this year, my resolution is to help other people try and improve. But the thing is, I'm finding out that a lot of people don't really appreciate when you're trying to be helpful. One thing I realized off the bat is that people in my family are doing a lousy job sticking to their resolutions. Mom said she was going to start going to the gym today, but she spent the entire afternoon watching TV. And Dad said he was going to go on a strict diet, but after dinner I caught him out in the garage stuffing his face with brownies. Even my little brother Manny couldn't stick with his resolution. This morning he told everyone that he's a big boy and that he's giving up his pacifier for good. And then he threw his favorite binky in the trash. Well, that New Year's resolution didn't even last a full minute. The only person in my family who didn't come up with a resolution is my older brother, Roderick. And that's a pity because his list should be about a mile and a half long. So I decided to help him and come up with a program to help him be a better person. I called my plan 3 strikes and you're out. The basic idea is that every time I saw Roderick messing up, I'd make a little X on his chart. Well, Roderick got all 3 strikes before I even decided what you're out means. Anyway, I'm starting to realize if I should just bag my resolution too. It's a lot of work and so far I haven't really made any progress. Besides, after I reminded Mom for like the billionth time to stop chewing her potato chips so loud, she made a really good point. She said, "Everyone can't be as perfect as you, Gregory." And so far, from what I've seen, she's right. Thursday, Dad was giving this diet thing another try, and that's bad news for me. He's gone about 3 days without eating any chocolate, and he's been super cranky. The other day, Dad woke me up and told me to get ready for school. I accidentally fell back asleep, and believe me, that's the last time I ever make that mistake. Part of the problem is that Dad always wakes me up before Mom's out of the shower. So I know that I have like 10 more minutes before I need to get out of the bed for real. Yesterday I came up with a pretty good way to get some extra sleep without making Dad mad. After he woke me up, I took all my blankets down the hall with me and waited outside my room, outside the bathroom for my turn to the shower. Then I laid it down right on top of the heater vent, and then the furnace was blowing, and the experience was even better than being in bed. The problem was the heat only stayed on for about 5 minutes at a time. So when the furnace wasn't running, I was just lying there on this cold piece of metal. This morning, while I was waiting for Mom to be done with her shower, I remembered someone gave her a bathrobe for Christmas, so I went into her closet and got it. And let me just say, that was one of the smartest moves I've ever made. Wearing that thing was like being wrapped in a big fluffy towel that came out of the dryer. In fact, I liked it so much I even wore it after my shower. I think Dad might have been jealous that he didn't come up with the robe idea first, because when I came to the kitchen table, he seemed extra grumpy. And let me tell you, women have the right thing with the bathrobe thing. I'm wondering what I'm missing out on. What else I'm missing out on. I just wish I asked for my own bathrobe for Christmas, because I'm sure Mom's gonna make me give hers back. I struck out on gifts again this year. I knew I was in for a rough day when I came downstairs on my Christmas morning, and the only presents in my stocking were a stick of deodorant and a travel dictionary. I guess once you're in middle school, grown-ups decide that you're too old for toys or anything that's actually fun. But then they still expect you to be all excited when you open up the lame gifts they give you. Most of my gifts this year were books or clothes, but the closest thing I got to a toy was a present from Uncle Charlie. When I unwrapped Uncle Charlie's gift, I didn't even know what it was supposed to be. It was this big plastic ring with a net in front of it, or a net attached to it. Uncle Charlie explained to me that it was a laundry hoop for my bedroom. He said I was supposed to hang the laundry hoop on the back of my door, and it would make putting my dirty clothes away fun. At first I thought it was a joke, but then I realized Uncle Charlie was serious. So I had to explain to him that I don't actually do my laundry. I told him I just throw my dirty clothes on the floor, and Mom picks them up and takes them downstairs to the laundry room. Then in a few days, everything comes back to me in nice folded piles. I told Uncle Charlie he should just return the laundry hoop and give me cash so I can buy something I can actually use. And so Mom spoke up. She told Uncle Charlie that she thought the laundry hoop was a great idea. She said that from now on, I'd be doing my own laundry. So basically, it ends up that Uncle Charlie got me a chore for Christmas. It really stinks this year that I got such crummy gifts. I put in a lot of effort buttering people up for the last few months, and I thought it would pay off on Christmas. Now that I'm responsible for my own laundry, I'm kind of glad that I got a bunch of clothes. I might actually make it through the whole school year before I run out of clean stuff to wear. Monday. When me and Riley got to our bus stop today, we found a nasty surprise. There was a piece of paper tied to our street sign, and it said that effective today, our bus route was rezoned. What that means is now we have to walk to school. We'll have to talk to the genius who came up with that idea, because our street is almost a quarter of a mile from the school. Me and Riley had to run to make it to school on time today. What really stunk was that when our regular bus passed us by, and it was full of kids from Worley Street, the neighborhood right next to ours. The Worley Street kids made monkey noises when they passed us, which was really annoying because that's what we used to do when we passed them. I'll tell you one reason it's a bad idea to make kids walk to school. These days, teachers give you so much homework that with all the books and papers you have to carry home, your backpack's gonna end up weighing like 100 pounds. And if you want to see what kind of effect that would have on a kid over time, all you have to do is look at Roger and his group of friends. Speaking of teenagers, Dad scored a pretty big victory today. The baddest kid in our neighborhood is this teen named Lenwood Heath. He's kind of like Dad's arch enemy. Dad has probably called the cops on Lenwood Heath about 50 times. Dagnab, you rotten teenagers. I guess Lenwood's parents got sick of the ex because they sent him off to military academy. You think that made Dad pretty happy, but I don't think he'll be satisfied until every teenager on the planet gets sent off to juvenile hall or Alcatraz or something. And that includes Roderick. Yesterday, Mom and Dad gave Roderick some money to buy books so he could study for the SATs, but he spent the money on a tattoo instead. I've still got a little more time before I turn into a teenager, but the minute I do, I guarantee Dad will be looking for the first chance to ship me out. Monday. For the past week or so, Manny's been getting out of bed every night and coming up downstairs. Instead of putting him right back to bed, Mom lets Manny sit with us and watch TV. It's really not fair, because when Manny's with us, I'm not allowed to watch any of the shows I like. All I can say is, when I was a kid, there wasn't any of this getting out of bed stuff. I did it once or twice, but Dad put a stop to it real quick. There was this book Dad used to read me every night called The Giving Tree. It was a really good book, but the back of it had a picture of the author, this guy named Shel Silverstein. But Shel Silverstein looks more like a burglar or a pirate than a guy who should be writing books for kids. Dad must have known that picture kind of freaked me out, because one night after I got out of bed, Dad said, "If you get out of the bed again tonight, you'll probably run into Shel Silverstein in the hallway." That really did the trick, because ever since then, I still don't get out of bed at night, even if I really have to use the bathroom. I don't think Mom and Dad read Manny any Shel Silverstein books. which probably explains why he keeps getting up after they put him to bed. I've heard some of the stories Mom and Dad read to Manny, and let me just say that the people who write these books really have a racket going. First of all, there are hardly any words to them, so I'm pretty sure it only takes about 5 seconds to write one. Silly bear yawning, silly bear sad, silly bear sleeping, silly bear glad. The end. I told Mom what I'd thought of Manny's books, and she said that if they were so easy to write, I should come up with one myself. So that's exactly what I did. Trust me, it wasn't hard either. All I have to do is make up a character with a snappy name, then make the character learn a lesson at the end of the book. All I have to do is mail this thing off to a publisher and wait for the money to start rolling in. Wise Up, Mr. Sharp by Greg Heffley. Once upon a time, there was a man named Mr. Sharp who thought all these crazy thoughts. I don't know much, but I do know one thing. Polar bears are some useless animals. One day, Mr. Sharp took a ride in his car. Here I go. But then... And then, Mr. Sharp, he would have drowned, but luckily DOAWK here was sitting on an iceberg, and he saved your life. And so... Before I said that polar bears were some useless animals, but now I can see that not every polar bear is so useless after all. The end. See what I mean? The only thing I noticed after I finished the book was that I forgot to make it rhyme. But the publisher is gonna have to pay me extra if they want that. Wednesday. I'm getting really tired of walking to school every day, so this morning I asked Mom if she would drive me and Rowley. The reason I didn't ask her sooner is because Mom's car is covered in all these embarrassing bumper stickers, and the kids at my school are brutal when it comes to that sort of thing. I tried scraping the bumper stickers off, but whatever kind of glue they put on those things is meant to last until the end of time. Today, me and Rowley got a ride from Mom, but I told her to let us out behind the school. Well, I made the dumb mistake of leaving my backpack in the car, so Mom brought it to me in the 4th period. And of course, she picked today to finally start going to the gym. It was just my luck too. 4th period is the only time I have a class with Holly Hills. I've been trying to make a good impression on her this year. I figured this incident probably set me back about 3 weeks. I'm not the only one who's trying to impress Holly Hills either. I think just about every boy in my class has a crush on her. Holly is the 4th prettiest girl in the grade, but the top 3 all have boyfriends. So a lot of guys like me are doing everything they can to get in good with her. I've been trying to come up with an angle to separate myself from the rest of the goobers who like Holly. And I think I finally figured it out. Humor. See, the kids in my class are like Neanderthals when it comes to jokes. To give you an idea of what I'm talking about, here's the kind of thing that passes for comedy at my school. Anytime Holly's in the area, I make sure I use my best material. I've been using Rowley as my comedy partner, and I've actually trained him on a couple of pretty decent jokes. What you doing? Eating chocolate. Where'd you get it? Doggy dropped it. Heh heh heh. The only problem is, Rowley's starting to get a little greedy about who gets to say what, so I don't know if this partnership is gonna work out long term. Friday. Well, I learned my lesson about getting a ride from Mom, so I'm back to walking to school. When I was heading home with Rowley this afternoon, I seriously didn't think I had the energy to make it up the hill to my house. So I asked Rowley if he'd give me a piggyback ride. Rowley didn't exactly jump at the idea, so I had to remind him that we're best friends, and this is the kind of thing best friends do for each other. Then he finally caved in when I offered to carry his backpack for him. I have a feeling this was a one-time thing, though, because Rowley was completely wiped out by the time he dropped me off at my school. You know, if the school is going to take away our bus ride home, they can at least install a ski lift on our hill. I've emailed the principal about 5 times with my suggestion, but I haven't heard anything back yet. When I got to my house, I was pretty tired, too. My new thing is that I take a nap every day after school. In fact, I live for my naps. Sleeping after school is the only way I can recharge my batteries, and on most days I get home. The second I get home, I am in bed. I'm actually kind of becoming an expert at sleeping. Once somehow I can sleep through just about anything. The only person who I know who's better at sleeping than me is Roderick. And here's the reason I say that. A couple of weeks ago, Mom had to order Roderick a brand new bed because he'd worn his out. So the furniture guys came to take his old mattress and box spring away. When they came, Roderick was in the middle of an after-school nap. So they took his bed away and he just slept on the floor. Right there in the empty bed frame. The thing I'm starting to worry about is that Dad might start to ban our after-school naps. I'm starting to get the feeling that he's sick of waking the two of us up every morning after dinner, or for dinner every night. Tuesday. Well, I hate to admit this, but I think my naps are starting to have an effect on my grades. So I used to do my homework when I got home from school, and then I watched TV at night. Lately, I've been trying to do my homework while I watch TV, and sometimes it doesn't work out too good. I had this 4-page biology paper due today, but last night I kind of got caught up in this show I was watching, so I had to write the whole thing in the computer lab during recess today. I didn't have a lot of time to do my research, so I played with the margins and the font size to stretch what I had to 4 pages. I'm pretty sure Mrs. Nolan's gonna call me out on it. Chimps, a 4-page paper by Greg Heffley. This is a chimpanzee, or chimp for short. Chimps are the subject of the paper you are holding in your hand right now. Chimps are supposed to be smart, but I'm not so sure that's true. Get out of my way, chimp.
Don't call me chimp.
But you are one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, looks like I'm out of paper, so I guess this is the end. Yesterday I got a 0 on the quiz in geography, but in my defense, it's really hard to study for the quiz and watch football at the same time. To be honest with you, I don't think teachers should be making us memorize all this stuff to begin with, because in the future, everyone is going to have a personal robot that tells you whatever you need to know. Wacky fun fact of the day. Diary of a Wimpy Kid predicted the Alexa and the smart stuff. On page 52, it says, everyone in the future is going to have a personal robot that tells you whatever you need to know. And now we currently have the Alexa, the Google Home, we have Siri, and we have all stuff like that. That's your wacky fact of the day.
Speaking of teachers, today Mrs. Craig was in a really bad mood. That's because the big dictionary that usually sits on her desk was missing. I'm sure someone just borrowed it and forgot to put it back, but the word Mrs. Craig kept on using was stole. Mrs. Craig said that if the dictionary wasn't returned to her desk before the end of the period, she was keeping everyone inside for recess. Then she told us she was going to leave the room and that if the culprit had returned the dictionary to her desk, there wouldn't be any consequences and there would be no questions asked. Mrs. Craig made Patty Farrell class monitor and left the room. Patty takes her job as class monitor really seriously, and when she's in charge, nobody dares to step out of line. I was just hoping someone who took the person who took the dictionary would hurry up and come clean, because I had 2 cartons of chocolate milk for lunch. May I please use the lavatory? No. But nobody did come forward, and sure enough, Mrs. Craig stuck to her promise and kept us inside for recess. Then she said she was going to keep us inside every day until the dictionary was returned. Friday. Mrs. Craig has kept us inside for the past 3 days, and still, no dictionary. Today, Patty Farrell was sick, so Mrs. Craig put Alex Aruda in charge of the room while she was gone. Alex is a good student, but people aren't afraid of Alex the way they are of Patty Farrell. As soon as Mrs. Craig left the room, it was complete pandemonium. A couple of guys who were sick of getting stuck inside for recess every day decided to try and figure out who took Mrs. Craig's dictionary. The first person they interrogated was this kid named Corey Lamb. I think Corey was number 1 on the list of suspects because he's smart and he always uses big words. Corey fessed up to the crime in no time flat, but it turns out he only said it because the pressure made him crack. Next kid on the list was Peter Lynn, and before you knew it, Peter was confessing too. I just figured it was just about a matter of time before those guys cornered me, so I knew how to come up with something fast. I've read enough Sherlock Sammy books to know that someone that sometimes takes a nerd to get you out of a pinch, and I figured if anyone could crack this case, it was Alex Aruda. So me and a couple of other guys who were worried about us getting hassled went over to Alex to see if he could help us out. We told Alex we needed him to solve the mystery of who took Mrs. Craig's dictionary, but he didn't even know what we were talking about. I guess Alex had been wrapped up in his book that he hadn't even noticed what had been going on around him for the past couple of days. Plus, Alex usually stays inside to read during recess, so Mrs. Craig's punishment hadn't really had an effect on his life.
Unfortunately, Alex has read his share of Sherlock Sammy books too, so he said that he would help us if we paid him $5. Well, that was totally unfair because Sherlock Sammy only charges a nickel. But me and the other guys agreed it was worth it, and we pooled our money and then forked over the $5. We all laid out the facts of the case to Alex, but we didn't know a whole lot. Then we asked Alex if he could get us pointed in the right direction. I expected Alex to start taking notes and start spouting some scientific mumbo-jumbo, but all he did was close the book and was reading a show with a cover to us. And you're not gonna believe this, but it was Mrs. Craig's dictionary. Alex said he'd been studying the dictionary to get ready for the state spelling bee next month. Well, that would have been nice to know before we gave him our $5. Anyway, there was no time to waste complaining because Mrs. Craig was going to be back in the room any second. Corey Lamb grabbed the book from Alex and put it on Mrs. Craig's desk, but she happened to walk in at the room right at the moment. Mrs. Craig ended up going back on the whole no consequences promise, so Corey Lamb is going to be spending the next 3 weeks inside during recess. Looking on the bright side, though, at least he'll have Alex Rue to keep him some company. February, Tuesday. Yesterday in the cafeteria, when I emptied out my lunch bag, I got 2 fruits and no snacks. This is a pretty good problem. Mom always packs cookies or sugar wafers or something in my lunch bag. It's usually the only thing I eat, so I had no energy for the rest of the day. When I got home, I asked Mom what the deal was with the whole 2 fruits thing. She says she always buys enough treats to last us the whole week, so one of us boys must have taken the snacks out of the bin to the laundry room. I'm sure Mom thinks I'm the one stealing the snacks, but believe me, I already learned my lesson about doing that. Last year I took treats out of the bin, but I totally paid the price for it when I opened my lunch at school and pulled out Mom's substitute snack. Would one of you gentlemen care to trade something for a pack of crotons? Today at lunch it was the same thing, 2 fruits and no snacks. Like I said, I really depend on the boost I get from that sugar. I almost fell asleep in Mrs. Watson's class in 6th period, but luckily I snapped awake when my head hit the back of the chair. When I got home, I told Mom it wasn't fair that someone else was eating the treats and I was having to suffer. But she said she wasn't going to grocery shopping until the end of the week, and that I have to just make do until then. That wasn't any help either. When I complained to him, he just made up a penalty for anyone caught stealing snacks, which was no drums and no video games for a week. So obviously he thinks it's either me or Roderick. Like I said, it's not me, but I figured Dad might be right about Roderick. When Roderick went up to the bathroom after dinner, I walked down to his room to see if I could find any wrappers or crumbs. But while I was poking around in Roderick's room, I heard him coming downstairs. I had to hide quick because for some reason Roderick gets really bent out of shape when he catches me in his room. Like he did yesterday. Hey, look at me! Right before Roderick got to the bottom of the stairs, I dove into his desk cabinet and shut the door. Roderick walked in his room and then flopped on his bed and called his friend, Ward. Roderick and Ward talked forever, and I was starting to think that I might have to spend the night in that desk. Roderick and Ward got into a pretty heated debate over whether or not someone could throw up while standing on their head, and I started feeling I was going to throw up myself. Luckily, right around then, the phone's battery died. When Roderick went upstairs to get the spare phone, I made a run for it. The snack thing wouldn't even be an issue if I had money. If I did, I could just buy something from the vending machine every day at school. At the moment, though, I'm kind of broke because I wasted all my money on junk that I can't even use. About a month ago, I saw these ads in the back of one of my comic books, and I sent away for a couple of things that were supposed to totally change my life. X-ray goggles, personal hovercraft, print your own money with a cash machine, throw your voice ventriloquism. I started receiving my stuff in the mail about 2 weeks ago. The cash machine turned out to be some stupid magic trick where you have to enter your own money in the secret slot for it to work. And that wasn't good because I was really counting on that thing to get me out of having to find a job when I grow up. The X-ray goggles just made you blurry and cross-eyed, so that was a bust too. The throw your voice thing didn't work at all, even though I followed the instructions in the book. The item I had the highest hopes for were the personal hovercraft. I figured getting home after school would be a breeze once my hovercraft finally showed up in the mail. But when I got the package today, there wasn't a hovercraft inside. It was just a blueprint on how to build a hovercraft, and I got stuck on step 1. Acquire an industrial twin turbine engine. I can't believe people who write these ads can just get away with lying to kids like that. I thought about hiring a lawyer to sue those guys, but lawyer costs money, and like I said before, the cash machine was a pile of garbage. Thursday. Today when I got home from school, Mom was waiting for me, and she did not look too happy. It turns out the school sent home mid-quarter report cards, and she got the mail before I could intercept it. Mom showed me the report card, and it wasn't pretty. Then she said we were gonna wait for Dad to get home to see what he thought. Waiting for Dad to get home when you're in trouble is just the worst. I used to just hide in the closet, but recently I figured out a better way to handle it. Now whenever I get in trouble, I ask Grandma to come over for dinner, because Dad's not gonna act mad at me when Grandma's around. At dinner, I made sure I sat in the seat right next to Grandma. Luckily, Mom didn't mention my report card during dinner, and when Grandma said she needed to leave to go to bingo, I tagged right along with her. Escaping Dad wasn't the only reason I went to bingo with Grandma. I also went because I needed a surefire way to make some money. I figured spending a few hours with Grandma and her bingo friends was a pretty fair price to pay for a week's worth of snacks from the vending machine in the school cafeteria. Grandma and her friends are experts at bingo, and they're real serious about it too. They have all sorts of gear like lucky blotters and bingo trolls and stuff like that to help them win. One of Grandma's friends is so good that she doesn't even need that she just memorizes all her cards and that she doesn't even need a blotter to mark them off. For some reason tonight, Grandma and her friends were winning like they usually do. But then on the coverall game, I got every square. I yelled out bingo real loud, and the clerk came over to check my cards. It turns out I messed up and covered a couple squares I shouldn't have. And the clerk announced that my win was no good, and everyone else in the room was pretty happy that they could keep playing. Grandma told me not to call so much attention to myself when I called out bingo again, because the regulars don't like it when a newcomer wins. I thought Grandma was just pulling my leg, but sure enough, the regulars sent one of their ladies over to intimidate me. I have to admit, she did her job really well. Friday. Well, today wasn't exactly my best day ever. For starters, I flunked my science test, so it probably would have been a good idea to have studied last night instead of spending 4 hours at bingo. I fell asleep in 6th period today, and this is the time I was out cold. Mr. Watson had to shake me to get me up. As a punishment, I had to sit in the front of the room, which was just fine as me, because at least there I could sleep in peace. I just wish someone woke me up when 6th period ended, because I didn't wake up until the next period started. The class I woke up in was taught by Mrs. Lowry. Mrs. Lowry gave me detention on Monday. I'm gonna have to stay after school to serve it. Tonight I was totally jittery from my sugar withdrawal, but I didn't have any money to go buy a soda or candy from the convenience store. So I did something I'm not real proud of. I went to Relly's and dug up the time capsule we had buried in its front yard, but I only did it because I was desperate. I took the time capsule back to my house, opened it up, and got my $3. Then I went down to the convenience store and got myself a big soda, pack of gummy bears, and a candy bar. I guess I feel a little bad that the time capsule me and Relly put together didn't stay buried for a few hundred years. But on the other hand, it's kind of neat that one of us got to open it, because we actually had some really cool stuff put in there. Monday. I didn't really know what to expect from detention, but when I walked into the room, the first thought I had was, I don't belong in here with these future criminals. I took the only empty seat, which is right in front of this kid named Leon Rickett. Leon is not the brightest kid in our school. He was in detention because of what he did when a wasp landed on the window in her homeroom. I found out that all you do in detention is sit there and wait for it to be over. You're not allowed to read or do your homework or anything, which is a pretty dumb rule considering that most of the kids in there could really use some extra study time. Mr. Ray was the moderator, and he more or less kept an eye on us. Every time Mr. Ray looked away, Leon would flick my ear, give me a wet willy or something like that. Eventually, Leon got careless, and Mr. Ray caught Leon with his finger in my ear. Mr. Ray said if he caught Leon touching me again, he was going to be in big trouble. I knew Leon was going to go back to bugging me so I decided to put a stop to it. As soon as Mr. Ray's back was turned, I slapped my hands together to make it look like Leon hit me. Mr. Ray turned around and told Leon he was going to have to stay another half hour and that he had detention again tomorrow. On the way home, I was wondering if I made the smartest move back there at school. I wasn't exactly the fastest runner, and a half hour is not that big of a start. Tuesday. Tonight I realized all of my current problems can be traced back to when someone in my family started stealing the lunch snacks. So I decided to catch the thief once and for all. I knew Mom had gone grocery shopping over the weekend, and there was a fresh supply of snacks in the laundry room, so that meant the snack thief was pretty much guaranteed to strike. After dinner, I went to the laundry room and turned off the light. Then I climbed in an empty basket and waited. About a half hour later, someone came into the room and turned on the light, so I hid under a towel, but it turns out it was just Mom. I stayed perfectly still while she got the clothes out of the dryer. Mom didn't notice me in there, and she dumped the clothes from the dryer right into the bin where I was hiding. Then she walked out of the room, and I waited some more. I was seriously ready to wait there all night if that's what it took. The clothes from the dryer were really warm, and I started feeling a little drowsy, and before I knew it, I was asleep. I don't know how many hours I slept, but what I do know is I woke up to the sound of crinkling cellophane. When I heard the sound of chewing, I turned on my flashlight and caught the thief red-handed. It was Dad. I should have known it was him from the start. When it comes to junk food, he's a total addict. I started to give Dad a piece of my mind, but he cut me off. He wasn't exactly interested in talking about why he was stealing our lunch snacks, but he was interested in talking about why I was buried under a pile of Mom's underwear in the middle of the night. Right at that moment, we heard Mom coming down the stairs. I think me and Dad both realized how bad the situation looked for both of us. So we just grabbed as many oatmeal creams as we could carry and made a run for it. Wednesday. I was still really steamed at Dad for stealing all our lunch treats, I was planning on confronting him tonight. But Dad was in bed by 6 o'clock, so I didn't get my chance. Dad went to bed so early because he was depressed about something that happened when we got home from work. When Dad was getting mail, our neighbors of the street, the Snellas, walked down the hill with their new baby. The baby's name is Seth, and I think he's about 2 months old. Every time the Snellas have a baby, 6 months later they throw a big half-birthday party and invite all the neighbors. The highlight of each Snella half-birthday party is when the adults line up and try to make the baby laugh. The grown-ups do all these wacky things and make complete fools out of themselves. I've been to every single Snella half-birthday party so far, and no baby has laughed once. Everyone knows the real reason the Snellas have these half-birthday parties is because their big dream is to win the $10,000 grand prize on America's Funniest Families. That's what this TV show where they play home movies of people getting hit in the groin with golf balls and stuff like that. The Snells are just hoping something really funny will happen at one of their parties so they can catch it on videotape. They've actually gotten some pretty good stuff over the years. During Sam Snell's half-birthday party, Mr. Bittner split his pants doing jumping jacks. During Scott Snell's party, Mr. Odom was walking backward and he fell in the baby pool. The Snells turned into those videos, but I guess they didn't win anything. So I guess they're just going to have to keep having babies until they do. Dad hates performing in front of people, so he'll do everything he can to avoid having to act like a fool in front of the whole neighborhood. So far, Dad has weaseled his way off every single Snella birthday party. At dinner, Mom told Dad he has to go to Snella's half-birthday party in June. And I'm pretty sure Dad knows that his number is finally up. Thursday, everyone at school has been talking about the big Valentine's Day dance that's going up next week. This is the first year in my school that they've actually had a dance, so everyone's all excited. Some of the guys in my class were even asking girls if they would be their date to the dance. Me and Riley are both bachelors at the moment, but that's not going to stop us from arriving in style. I figured if me and Riley scraped together some money in the next few days, we could rent a limo for the night. When I called the limo company, the guy who answered the phone called me ma'am. So that pretty much blew his chance of he getting my business. Since the dance is next week, I realized I was going to need something to wear. I'm in kind of a pinch because I've already worn out all the clothes I got for Christmas, and I'm almost out of clean stuff to wear. I went through my dirty clothes to see if there was anything I could wear a second time. I separated my laundry into 2 piles. One that I could wear again, and that one that would get me sent down to Nurse Powell's office for a lecture on hygiene. I found a shirt in pile number 1 that wasn't so bad, except I had a jelly stain on the left-hand side. So at the dance, I'll just remember to keep high heels to the right of me at all times. Valentine's Day. I was up late last night making Valentine's cards for everyone in my class. I'm pretty sure my middle school is the only one in the state that still makes kids give cards to one another. This year I was actually looking forward to the cards swap. This night before Valentine's Day, I spent a lot of time making an awesome card for this girl named Natasha, who I kind of liked. Beloved Natasha, for you a fire blazes in my heart, so strong that the embers alone could bring 1,000 hot tubs to boil. So intense that it causes snowmen everywhere to despair. Let the bonfire of my love wrap you in its warmth. Only your kiss could quench the flames that so consume me. To you I pledge my love, my desire, my life. Greg. I showed Mom my card to check for spelling errors, but she said that what I wrote wasn't age appropriate. She told me I should just get Natasha a little box of candy or something, but I wasn't gonna take romantic advice from my mother. At school, everyone went around the room and put their Valentine's cards in one another's boxes, but I delivered my card to Natasha personally. I let her read it, then I waited to see what she made for me. Natasha dug around in her box and pulled out this cheap store-bought card that was supposed to be for her friend Chantel, who was out sick that day. And then Natasha scribbled out her friend's name and put my name on it instead. Anyway, you can probably see why I wasn't too enthusiastic about the card change this year. Last night I came up with a great idea. I knew how I had to make a card for everyone in the class, but instead of being all mushy and saying things I didn't really mean, I told everyone exactly what I thought of them. The trick was, I didn't actually sign any of my cards. A few of the kids complained about the cards to our teacher, Mrs. Reiser, and then she went around the room trying to figure out who sent them. I knew Mrs. Reiser would think that whoever didn't get a card was a culprit, and I was prepared for that too. So I made a card for myself. Dear Greg, I hate your guts. After the card exchange came the Valentine's dance. The dance was supposed to be at night, but I guess they couldn't get enough parents to volunteer as chaperones. So they put the dance smack in the middle of the school day instead. The teachers started rounding everyone up and sending them down to the auditorium around 1 o'clock. Anyone who didn't want to cough with the $2 had $2 for the admission had to go down to Mr. Ray's room for the study hall. But it was obvious to all of us that study hall was basically just detention. The rest of us followed them to the gym and sat in the bleachers. I don't know why, but all the boys sat on one side of the gym, and all the girls sat on the other. Once everyone was inside, the teacher started the music. But whoever picked out the songs is seriously out of touch with what kids are listening to these days. For the first 15 minutes or so, no one moved into muscle. Then Mr. Phillips, the guidance counselor, and Nurse Powell walked to the middle of the gym and started dancing. I guess Mr. Phillips and Nurse Powell thought they started dancing. All the kids would come down to the floor and join them. And all they really did guarantee was that everyone would stay in their seat. Finally, Mrs. Nancy, the principal, grabbed a microphone and made an announcement. She said that it was required that everyone come down to the floor and dance. And that would count for 20% of our phys ed grades. At that point, me and a couple of other boys tried to sneak out and go down to Mr. Ray's room, but we got caught by some teachers who were blocking the exits. Mrs. Nancy wasn't kidding about the gym grade thing either. She was walking around with Mr. Underwood, the phys ed teacher, and he was carrying his grade book with him. I'm already close to flunking phys ed, so I knew it was time to get serious, but I didn't want to look like a fool in front of the kids in my class either. So I just came up with the simplest move I could do that would technically qualify as dancing.
Step, pause, step, pause.
Unfortunately, a bunch of guys who were worried about their phys ed grades saw what I was doing and they came over to where I was. And the next thing I knew, I was surrounded by a bunch of bozos who were stealing my moves. I wanted to get as far away as those guys as I could, so I looked around the gym for a place where I could go and dance in peace. That's when I spotted Holly Hills across the room, and I remember why I even bothered coming to the dance in the first place. Holly was dancing with her friends in the middle of the gym, and I started doing my step dance thing, slowly moving towards them. All the girls were lumped together in one big pack and dancing like professionals. Probably because they'd spent all their time watching MTV. Holly was right in the middle of the group. I kind of danced around the outside of the circle for a while, trying to find an opening, but I couldn't. Finally, Holly stopped dancing, went to get a drink, and I knew it was my big chance. But just when I was about to go up to Holly and say something witty, Fregley came flying in out of nowhere. Boogie, boogie, boogie! Fregley had pink frosting covering his face, so he was probably hopped up on sugar from the cupcakes they were serving on the refreshments table. All I know for sure is that he totally would have been a great moment between me and Holly. A few minutes later, the dance was over, and I missed my chance to make a good impression on her. I walked home alone after school because I just needed a little time by myself. After dinner, Mom told me there was a Valentine's card in the mailbox with my name on it. When I asked her who it was, she just said someone special. I ran out to the mailbox and got the card, and I have to admit, I was pretty excited. I was hoping it was Holly Hills, but there are at least 4 or 5 other girls from the school who I wouldn't mind getting a card from either. The card was in a big pink envelope with my name written in cursive. I ripped it open, and here's what I found. A piece of construction paper with a piece of candy taped to it. And it was from Rowley. Sometimes, I just don't know about that boy. Saturday, March. The other day, Dad found Manny's blanket tingy on the couch. I don't think Dad knew what it was, so he threw it away. Ever since then, Manny's been turning the house upside down looking for his blanket, and finally, Dad had to tell him that he accidentally threw it out. Well, Manny got his revenge yesterday by using Dad's Civil War battlefield as a playset. Manny's been taking out his anger out on everyone else, too. Today I was sitting on the couch, just minding my own business, and Manny walked up to me and said, Ploopy! I didn't know if Ploopy was some kind of little kid bad word or what, but I didn't like the sound of it, so I went to find Mom and ask her if she knew what it meant. Unfortunately, Mom's on the phone, and when she's gabbling with one of her friends, it takes forever to get her attention. I finally got Mom to stop talking for a second, but she was mad I interrupted her. I told her that Manny called me a Ploopy, and she said, What is a Ploopy? That kind of threw me for a second because it's the exact kind of question I was trying to ask her. I didn't have an answer, so Mom just went back to her conversation. After that, Manny knew he had a green light to call me Ploopy whenever he wanted, and that's what he's been doing all day.
Wait, my hiney, Ploopy.
I guess I should have known that Manny wasn't going to get me anywhere. And when me and Roger were little, we used to tell on each other so much that it made Mom crazy. So she brought this thing called a towel turtle to solve the problem. Mom came up with the towel turtle idea when she taught preschool. The idea behind the towel turtle was that if me and Roger had a problem with each other, we had to tell the towel turtle instead of Mom. Well, the towel turtle worked out great for Roger, but not so much for me.
Tattle turtle, Roger stole all the money from my piggy bank.
Easter. On the car ride to church today, I felt like I was sitting on something sticky. And when I got out and turned around to look at the back of my pants, there was chocolate all over them. Manny brought his Easter bunny with him in the car, so I must have been sitting on an ear or something. Mom was trying to get the family inside to get good seats, but I told her there was no way I was going in there looking like that. I knew Holly Hills and her family were probably already there, and I really didn't need her wonder if I pooped my pants. Mom said skipping church on Easter was an option. We argued back and forth. Then Roger chimed in with his solution. He can wear my pants. Roger knows that church on Easter is always at least 2 hours long, so he was just looking for an excuse to get out of it. But right at that moment, Dad's boss and his family pulled up alongside us in the parking lot. Mom made Roger put his pants back on, and then she gave me her sweater to tie around my waist. I don't know which was worse, wearing dress pants with chocolate all over them or wearing Mom's pink Easter sweater like a kilt. Church was pretty full. The only seats that were empty were right up where Uncle Joe and his family were sitting, so we sat next to them. I looked around and I spotted Holly Hills and her family 3 rows back. I was pretty sure she couldn't see what I was wearing from the waist down, so that was a relief. As soon as the music started up, Uncle Joe reached out to hold hands with me and his wife, and he started singing. I tried to break free a couple of times, but Uncle Joe had an iron grip. The song was only like an hour or minutes long, but it felt like a half hour to me. After the song was over, I turned to people behind us and pointed at Uncle Joe and made the cuckoo sign, so everyone knew I wasn't on board with this whole holding hands thing. Somewhere in the middle of the church, they passed out a basket so people could give money to help the needy.
Secretly, it's going to the church, but whatever.
I didn't have any money of my own, so I whispered to Mom to see if she would give me $1. Then when the basket came to me, I made a big deal of putting the dollar in the basket to make sure Holly could see how generous I was. But when I put the money in the basket, I realized Mom had given me a 20, not a single. I tried to grab the basket to make a change, but it was too late. All I could say was I better get some points in heaven for that donation. I've heard when you do good deeds, you're supposed to be all private about it, but that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. If I start hiding my good deeds, I'm sure I'll just regret it later on. What about that squirrel I helped with a big broken leg? Sorry, I must have missed that. Like I said before, the Easter service is super long. One of the songs was going on for about 5 minutes. I started looking for ways to entertain myself. The way that Roger keeps himself busy when he's bored is picking out that scab on the back of his hand that he never lets heal. We're not really interested in going that route. Manny is made in church. Mom and Dad let him bring all sorts of stuff to keep him entertained. And believe me, Mom and Dad never let me bring anything to church when I was his age. Mom and Dad always baby Manny, though. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Last week, Manny was at preschool. When he opened up his lunchbox, his sandwich was cut in halves. Non-quarters, the way he likes it. Manny threw a huge temper tantrum, and the teachers had to call Mom. So she left work and drove all the way down to Manny's school to make an extra slice. Anyway, I was thinking about this in church, and all of a sudden I got an idea in my head. I leaned over to Manny and whispered, Ploopy. Well, Manny completely lost it. He started bawling, and everyone in the church turned their heads our way. Even the minister stopped talking to see what was going on. Mom couldn't calm Manny down, so we had to leave. Instead of walking out the side door, though, we walked right down the center aisle. I tried to look as cool as possible when we walked past the Hills family, but it was pretty tough considering the circumstances. The only person more embarrassed was Dad. Dad tried to cover up his face with the church bulletin, but his boss spotted him and gave Dad the thumbs up on the way out. Wednesday. Things have been kind of tense around here ever since the mess the Easter Sunday. First of all, Mom was really mad at me for calling Manny Ploopy, so I had to remind her that she didn't have any problem when Manny said it. So Mom banned the word for everyone. And she said that if anyone was caught saying it, they'd be grounded for a week. But of course, it didn't take long for Roger to find a loophole. Monday. Tuesday. Tuesday. Today. P. This isn't the first time Mom has banned us from saying certain words in the house. A while back, Mom made up a no swearing rule because Manny was picking up new words left and right. Dang it. Every time someone said a bad word in front of Manny, they had to put $1 in his swear jar. So Manny was getting rich off of me and Roderick. Then Mom upped the ante by adding words like stupid and jerk and all that. To keep us from going bankrupt, me and Roger came up with a bunch of code words that meant the same thing as the banned words, and we've been using them ever since. Spooky stork. Every once in a while, I forget to switch back when I'm in school, and I'm looking like an idiot. Just today, David Nestor spit out a piece of gum and it landed in my hair. I really let loose with everything I had, but I don't think I upset David too much. Raspberry plastic tickle bear. The other thing that's changed since Easter is that Dad has been on me and Roger's case. I guess he's tired of us looking bad in front of his boss, Mr. Warren. Dad made Roger enroll in his SAT class, and he made me sign up for rec league soccer. Soccer tryouts were tonight. The coaches lined up all the kids for a skills test where you had to dribble a ball between some cones and stuff like that. I tried my best, but I just got ranked a pre-alpha minus, which I'm sure is just adult code words for you stink. I said go around the cones. After the skills test, they put us on different teams. I was hoping I get one of those fun coaches who didn't take sports too seriously, like Mr. Proctor or Mr. Gibb. But I got the worst one out of the whole bunch. Mr. Litch. Mr. Litch is one of those drill surgeon types who likes to yell a lot. Mr. Litch used to be Roger's coach, and I'm pretty sure he's the reason Roger doesn't do sports anymore. Anyway, our first real practice is tomorrow, and hopefully I'll just get cut so I can get back to playing video games. Twisted Wizard 2 is supposed to come out soon. I heard it's awesome. Thursday, I got put on a team with a bunch of kids I really don't know. The first thing Mr. Lich did was hand out uniforms, and he told us to come up with a team name. I suggest we call ourselves the Twisted Wizards and get the Game Hut to sponsor us. Nobody liked my idea, though. One kid said we should call our team the Red Sox, which I thought was a terrible idea. First of all, Red Sox are a baseball team, and second of all, our soccer costumes are blue. Of course, everyone else loved the idea, and that's the name that went out. Then the assistant coach, Mr. Boone, said he was worried that if we called our team the Red Sox, we might get sued. I'm pretty sure those guys have better things to do than go around suing middle school soccer teams. Like I said before, nobody wanted to listen to my opinions, so the team voted to change the name to Red Sox. And that was final. After that, we started practice. Mr. Lich and Mr. Boone made us run laps and do leg lifts and a bunch of other stuff that had nothing to do with soccer. In between wind sprints, I hung out by the water cooler with the two other pre-alpha minus guys. And every time we were slow getting back to the field, Mr. Lich would yell, "Get your bunch over here!" Me and the other guys thought it would be pretty funny that next time Mr. Lich said that, we all ran at him with our butts sticking out. So the next time Mr. Lich yelled at us to get our butts over here, I went with my rear end pointed at him. But the other guys totally left me out to dry. Mr. Lich did not appreciate my sense of humor and made me run 3 extra laps. When Dad picked me up at the end of practice, I told him that maybe soccer wasn't such a good idea and that he should probably just let me quit. That made Dad pretty mad, so he said, "No son of mine is a quitter." Which is really not true at all. I'm a huge quitter, and so is Rogic, and I think Manny's on his 3rd or 4th preschool by now. Anyway, I got the feeling that if I'm gonna get out of soccer, I gotta think of it from another angle. Friday, ever since I started playing soccer, I've been going through my clothes twice as quick as I did before. I'm totally out of clean stuff to wear. I've been totally out of clean stuff to wear for a while now, so I've been pulling all of my clothes out of my dirty laundry piles. But I found out today about recycling clothes from the dirty laundry pile can be risky. Today I was walking by some girls in the hallway and a pair of dirty underwear fell off my pant legs. I just kept walking and hoped that the girls might think the underwear wasn't actually mine. I paid the price for that decision later on in the day. A pair of boys' underpants with the name Greg H was written on the waistband was found in the hallway. Would the owner please come to the front office and retrieve his article of clothing? I think I better hurry up and learn how to do my laundry because I'm really running out of options. Because tomorrow I'm gonna have to wear a t-shirt I got from Uncle Gary's first wedding and I'm really not looking forward to it. I was kind of down the dumps about on the walk home from school today, but something happened to change that. Riley told me that one of his friends from karate were having a sleepover this weekend, and he asked me if I wanted to come along. I was about to say no way, but then Riley said something that got my attention. The kid who's having the party lives on Pleasant Street, which is the same neighborhood that Holly Hills lives in. At lunch I overheard a couple of girls saying that Holly's having a sleepover Saturday night, so this could be the opportunity of a lifetime for me. Greg is a simp confirmed. Tonight at soccer practice, Mr. Lich told everyone that the position that they'd be playing on the first game on Saturday. Mr. Lich told me that I'd be the shag, and that sounded pretty cool to me. So when I got home, I bragged to Rogic about it. I'm the shag. I thought Rogic would be impressed, but he just laughed. He told me that shag wasn't actually a real position on the field. It's just a kid who chases the ball when it goes out of bounds. Then he showed me a rule book with all the soccer positions, and sure enough, shag wasn't in it. Roger's always pulling my leg, though, so I'll just have to wait this weekend to see if he's telling the truth. Sunday. Remind me never to go to a sleepover with Raleigh again. Yesterday afternoon, Mom dropped me and Raleigh off at his friend's house. The first hint that I was in for a long night was when we walked to the house. There wasn't a kid there who was older than 6. And my second hint was that everyone was wearing their karate gear. The whole reason I even went to the sleepover was so we could slink out and crash Holly's slumber party. But Riley's friends were more interested in Sesame Street than they were in girls. All those guys wanted to do was play a bunch of dopey party games like Blind Man's Bluff and that sort of thing. I could have been playing Spin the Bottle with Holly Hills, but instead I spend my nights trying not to get groped by a bunch of first graders. Riley's friends played some other games too, like Freeze Tag and Twister. I excused myself to go upstairs when someone suggested we play Who Licked Me? I tried calling Mom to come pick me up, but she was out with Dad, so I knew I was stuck at this kid's house for the night. At about 9:30, I decided just to sleep and get the night over with, but those guys came into the bedroom and got into a massive pillow fight. Let me tell you, it's not easy falling asleep when a sweaty kid falls on you every 5 seconds. Eventually, the kid's mom came upstairs and told everyone it was time to go to sleep. Even after the lights went out, Riley and his friends stayed up, talking and giggling. They must have thought I was asleep because at one point, a bunch of them snuck up on me and tried to pull the head in a bowl of warm water trick. Well, that was enough for me, so I went downstairs to sleep in the basement, even though it was pitch black down there and I couldn't find a light. I left my sleeping bag upstairs and that was a mistake because it was freezing in the basement. I did not want to go back upstairs and get my stuff though. I curled up in the ball and tried to conserve as much body heat as possible to make it through morning. I think it was probably the longest night of my life. When the sun came up this morning, I found out the reason it was so cold in the basement. I was sleeping right by the sliding glass door and some fool had gone and left it open overnight. That really stunk though, because if I knew there was a way to escape, I definitely would have taken it. When I got home this morning, I went back to bed until Dad woke me up and told me it was time to go to the soccer game. It turns out Roger was right about the whole shag thing. I spent the whole game pulling balls out of brambles, and let me tell you, it wasn't a lot of fun. Our team won the game, and afterward we were supposed to go out to celebrate. Dad couldn't stick around, so we asked Mr. Litch if he would drive me home afterwards. Well, I really wish Dad had asked me what I thought about that idea first, because I would have just gone home with him. I was starving from all the digging around the bushes, so I figured I'd just go with the team. We went to a fast food place, and I ordered 20 chicken nuggets. When I went out to use the bathroom, and when I came back, all my food was gone. And then Eric Bickford dumped out my nuggets out of his big, sweaty hands. If you ever wanted to know why I don't like team sports, there it is, in a nutshell. After lunch was over, me, Kenny Keith, and Eric got into Mr. Litch's car. Kenny sat in the back with Eric, and I sat up in the passenger seat. We had to wait a long time because Mr. Litch was sitting on the hood of his car, lagging away with Mr. Boone. After a while, Kenny leaned forward from the back seat and laid on the horn for about 3 seconds. Then Kenny jumped back and in his seat with Mr. Litch turned around. And it looked like I was the one who honked the horn. Mr. Litch gave me a dirty look and then turned around and talked to his assistant for another half hour. On the way home, Mr. Litch stopped to do about 5 errands. He wasn't in any sort of hurry to get them done either. And get this, Kenny and Eric were mad at me for making them get home so late. So that should give you a feeling for the type of intelligence I'm dealing with there. Mr. Litch dropped me off last. On the way up the hill, I saw the Snells out in their front yard. It looks like they were trying to get some clips to send into America's Funniest Families. I guess I don't feel like waiting around a few months till Seth's birthday party. Thursday. Today was April 1st, and here's how my day started. April Fools! Every other day, you couldn't drag Rogic out of bed before 8 a.m., but on April 1st, Rogic always wakes up so early, so he can get his licks in. Someone seriously needs to explain the concept of a practical joke to Rogic, because all of his jokes involve me getting injured. Last year, Rogic bet me 50 cents I couldn't tie my shoes while I was standing up, and I totally fell for it. You're about to owe me 50 cents. I went inside and told Dad that Rogic shot me in the butt with a paintball gun. Dad didn't feel like getting in the middle of a fight, so he just told Rogic to pay me 50 cents for winning the bet. Rogic took 2 quarters out of his pocket and threw them on the ground, but I obviously didn't learn my lesson, because I bent over to pick them up. At least I could put some thinking into my practical jokes. Last year, I pulled a pretty good trick on Rally. We were in the bathroom at a movie theater, and I convinced him that some random guy staying at the urinal was a professional athlete. So Rally asked the guy for his autograph. Today, me and a couple of other guys pulled a good one on Shirag Gupta. We decided it would be pretty funny if we made him look like he was losing his hearing. So we all made sure we talked real quiet whenever he came around. Did you catch a big soccer match last night? Yes, quite a game. Quite a game. Shrag figured out what was going on pretty quick, and he went straight to the teacher to shut down before the joke could get out of hand. I guess he didn't want to repeat the invisible Shrag joke from last Friday. We had our second soccer game tonight. Some adult volunteered to shag the ball, so I got to sit on the bench for the whole game. It was really cold out, and I asked Dad if I could go get my coat from the car. But he said no. Dad said I need to be prepared in case the coach decided to put me in the game, so I had to just tough it out. I wanted to tell Dad that the only time I'd be stepping foot on the field would be when Mr. Litch would make me pick up the other kids' orange peels at halftime. But I just kept quiet and concentrated on not letting my shin guards freeze to my legs. Every time Mr. Litch called a hustle, Dad made me get off the bench and join the rest of the team. Have you ever seen a game on TV and wondered what the bench warmers were thinking when they stand in the huddle while the coach goes over the game plan? Well, now I can tell you firsthand. You guys smell. Once the sun went down, it got really cold. In fact, it got so cold Mackie, Creevy, and Manuel Gonzalez went out and got sleeping bags out of the Creevy's car. And Dad still wouldn't even let me go out to get my coat. During a timeout, we all joined the huddle. And when the coach got an eyeful of Mackie and Manuel, he told them they were excusing to go to Creevy's car for the rest of the game. So, Mackie and Manuel got to see it in a heated SUV while I had to sit on a cold metal bench in my shorts. And I know for a fact that the Creevies have a TV in their car. So I'm really sure that those guys were living it up in there. Monday. I've definitely got to start keeping on top of my laundry. I've been out of clean underwear for about 3 days, so I've been wearing my bathing suit as a substitute. Today we had physical education. When we changed into our gym clothes, I totally forgot I was wearing my Speedo underneath. Could have been a lot worse though. I have a pair of Wonder Woman underoos, and I've never taken out the wrapper. And this morning, I was pretty tempted to wear them just because they were clean. Believe me, I did not ask for the Wonder Woman underoos either. This past summer, a few of my relatives asked Mom what I wanted for my birthday, and she told me I was really into comics and superheroes. So the underoos were a gift from Uncle Charlie. We had another soccer game after school, but it's been getting a lot warmer lately, so I wasn't as worried about the cold. At school, me, Manatee, and Manuel agreed we all bring some video games tonight. And for the first time, we actually enjoyed ourselves at soccer. Didn't last long, though. 20 minutes into the game, Mr. Litch called all three of us off the bench and told us to get out of the field. Apparently, some parents complained about their kid not getting enough playing time. So the rec league made a rule that now every kid has to get in the game. Well, none of us have been paying any attention to the game, so when we got on the field, we didn't know what to do or where to stand. A couple of kids on our team told us that the other team had a free kick and that we were supposed to stand shoulder to shoulder to make a shield to block it. I thought that the guys on my team were joking, but it turns out they didn't. Me, Manuel, and Mackie had to line up in front of our goal, and then the referee blew the whistle, and a kid from the other team ran at that ball and kicked it right at us. Well, we didn't really do a good job at protecting the goal, and the other team scored. Mr. Litch pulled the three of us out of the game, and the second they got the chance, and yelled at us for not trying to protect the ball. But I'll tell you what. If I have to choose between getting yelled at or getting hit in the face with a soccer ball, it is no contest. Thursday. After the game last week, I asked Mr. Litch if I could be the backup goalie for the team, and he said I could. It was a genius move on my part, for a couple of reasons. First of all, goalies don't have to run laps and all that stuff during practice. They just do individual goalie drills with the assistant coach. Second, goalies wear different uniforms than the rest of the team. That means Mr. Litch can't put me in the game when it's time to block free kicks. Our regular goalie, Tucker Fox, is the star of the team, so I knew there was no way I was going to see any playing time anyway. These last few games have actually been kind of fun, but tonight something bad happened. Tucker hurt his hand after diving for a ball, and he had to come out, so that meant the coach had to put me in. Well, Dad was really excited that I was finally getting some real playing time, and he came down to my end of the field to coach me from the sideline. It's not like I really needed it, though, because our team kept the ball on the other side of the field for the rest of the game. I didn't even touch it once. I think I know what Dad was up to, though. When I used to play t-ball, I had a really hard time concentrating on the game. Tonight, Dad just wanted to make sure I didn't get distracted the way I used to do when playing right field. I have to admit, though, it was probably a good thing that Dad's down my case tonight. There were about a million dandelions down my end of the field, and the second half, I was starting to get a little twitchy. Monday. Well, yesterday we had another soccer game, and luckily Dad wasn't there to see it. We lost our first game of the season, 1-0. Somehow the other team got the ball past me in the last few seconds and they won the game, so that ruined our perfect record. After the game, everyone on my team was in a bad mood, so I decided to cheer them up. Well, it's just a stupid game, right, fellas? My teammates thanked me for being positive by pelting me with orange peels. Back at home, I was nervous to tell Dad about the game. I guess he seemed a little disappointed, but he got over it really quick. But tonight, though, when Dad got home from dinner, he looked really mad. He plopped the newspaper down in front of me on the kitchen table, and here was a picture of the sports page. A blown opportunity. Red Sox goalie Gregory Heffley takes a break from the action as a 50-yard kick from Demon Dogs midfielder James Bryan rolls in. That score ended the Sox bid for an undefeated season. Apparently, Dad found out about the paper from his boss at work. Okay, maybe I didn't tell Dad all the details about the game. In my defense, though, I didn't really know what was happening until I read about it in the paper myself. Dad didn't say a word to me for the rest of the night. If he's still mad at me, I just hope he gets over it really quick. Twisted Wizard 2 finally comes out today, and I'm kind of counting on Dad to float me some money so I can get it. Friday. Tonight after dinner, Dad took me and Rajik out to a movie. It's not because he was trying to be nice, though. He just needed to get out of the house. Remember how I told you Mom got on an exercise kick a few months ago? Well, she quit after her first class. Dad took a picture of Mom decked out in her exercise gear the first day she went to the gym, and tonight the pictures came in the mail. The photo place gives you duplicate prints, so as a joke, Dad wrote labels on the two pictures of Mom and put them out on the refrigerator. Before and after. Well, Dad was pretty proud of himself for coming up with that one, but Mom wasn't so amused. And I guess Dad felt like it was a good idea to put a little space between him and Mom last night. We went to the new movie theater that just opened up at the mall, and after we bought our tickets, we went inside and gave them to the usher, who was a teenager with a crew cut. I didn't recognize him at first, but apparently Dad did. I read the teenager's name tag, and I couldn't believe my eyes. It was Lenwood Heath, the bad teenager who used to live on our street. The last time I saw him, he had long hair and he was lighting someone's trash on fire. But now he was looking like he just graduated out of the Air Force or something. Dad looked really impressed with Lenwood's new look, and the two of them struck up a conversation. Lenwood said he's been going to the Spag Union Military Academy and that he's just working at the movie theater for spring break. Then Lenwood said he was going to get good grades at Spag Union so he can get up into West Point. All of a sudden, Dad was treating Lenwood like his new best friend, which was really crazy, considering the history between the two of them. Anyway, Dad just kept chatting away with Lenwood, so me and Rajik just got our popcorn and went to the theater. It wasn't until halfway through the movie that I realized what was really happening. If Dad saw how military school make a man out of a juvenile delinquent like Lenwood Heath, then it wasn't a stretch to think that it could make a man out of a wimp, like me. I'm just praying Dad isn't having those thoughts right now. I'm pretty concerned because after the movie tonight, Dad was in the best mood I've seen him for a long time. Monday. Well, it's just like I feared. Dad spent the whole weekend reading up on Spag Union, and tonight he told me he's gonna sign me up. Here's the worst part. New recruits have to report on June 7th, which is when I'm supposed to be on summer vacation. Dad tried to convince me how this would be a great thing to me. I was Spag Union, we would be into shape, but going off to boot camp was not the way I was planning on spending my school break. I told Dad I won't last a day at Spag Union. First of all, they mix kids my age in with teenagers, and that can't be a good thing. I'm sure the older kids would single me out on the first day. But what I'm actually more concerned with is the bathroom situation. I bet Spag Union is one of those places that has no open shower stall doors, And that kind of stuff is not for me. When it comes to the bathroom, I need my privacy. I don't even use the bathroom at school unless it's an absolute emergency. A few classrooms in our school have bathrooms right in them, but I can't even use those because every sound they make is like a broadcast to the whole room. The only other option is to use the cafeteria bathroom. That place is a complete madhouse. Someone got the idea a few weeks ago to start throwing wet toilet paper around, so now that place is like a war zone. I can't concentrate in that kind of environment, so I basically just have to hold it until I get home from school. A couple of days ago, something happened that changed the situation. The janitor put some new air fresheners in the bathroom. I started a rumor that the air fresheners were actually security cameras to catch whoever was throwing the wet toilet paper. I guess I must have told the right people, because from that point on, the cafeteria bathroom has been quieter than the library. I might solve the problem at school, but I don't think I'm going to be able to pull off the same trick at Spag Union, and I seriously doubt I can hold it for the whole summer. I knew I wasn't going to convince Dad to change his mind, so I went to Mom. I told her I didn't want to go to a place where they make you shave your head and do push-ups each day at 5 o'clock every morning. I figured she'd agree with me and talk some sense into Dad. But I don't think Mom's going to be any help to me after all.
I think you'd be so handsome in a uniform.
Wednesday. I knew if I need to do something quick to convince Dad that I was tough, and I didn't need to go to the military academy. So I told him I wanted to join the Boy Scouts. Dad seemed really enthusiastic about the idea, so that was a relief. Besides trying to get Dad off my back, I have a couple of other reasons for wanting to join the Boy Scouts. Number one, Boy Scouts meetings are on Sundays, so that means I can quit soccer. And number two, is about time I started getting some respect from the other people at school.
Attention!
As you were, gentlemen. There are actually 2 Boy Scout troops in my town. Troop 24, which is right in our neighborhood, and Troop 133, which is about 5 miles down the road. Troop 133 is always having hot dog roasts and pool parties and stuff like that, but Troop 24 is constantly out doing community service projects on the weekends, so I'm definitely more of a Troop 133 kind of guy. Another trick is to make Dad not find out about Troop 24, because he'll make me sign up with them for sure. In fact, tonight we were driving to the mall, and we passed Troop 24 cleaning up the park. Luckily, I distracted Dad at the last second. Look, a bald eagle. Where? Sunday. Today was my first Boy Scout meeting, and luckily, it was with Troop 133. I got Riley to sign up with me too. When we got to the lodge, we met Mr. Barrett, the Scoutmaster. He asked me and Riley to do stuff like say the Pledge of Allegiance, and we were in. Mr. Barrett even gave us our uniforms. Riley was happy because he thought the uniform was cool, but I was happy to have a clean shirt for a change. After we put our uniforms on, we joined the rest of the troop and started working on merit badges. Merit badges are these little patches you get from learning how to do all sorts of manly stuff. Me and Riley started flipping through the merit badge book to see what kind of stuff we should work on. Riley wanted to do something hard like the wilderness survival or personal fitness, but I talked him out of it. I said we should just do something nice and easy, so we settled on whittling. But whittling was a lot harder than I thought it would be. It took forever trying to carve a block into anything, and Riley got a splinter within 5 minutes. So we went to Mr. Barrett if there was something less dangerous we could do. Mr. Barrett said that if we were having trouble with the wood, maybe we could use soap instead. And that's when I knew I made the right call when I signed up with Troop 133. Me and Riley started carving the soap, but then I found out something really great. If you can get the soap wet enough, you can just mold it into any shape you want with your hands. So we put away our whittling knives and squeezed our soap into a shape instead. My first creation was a sheep. I turned it into Mr. Barrett, and he checked one carving off my list. I really didn't know what to do for my next carving, so I just turned my sheep upside down and handed it back as the Titanic. And believe it or not, Mr. Barrett accepted that one too. So me and Riley got our willing merit badges and pinned them to our uniforms. When I came home, Dad was really impressed. If I would have known that this was all it took to make him happy, I would have signed up for Boy Scouts 6 months ago. Sunday. The other day, Mr. Barrett announced that our Boy Scout troop was having a father-son camp out this weekend, and I asked Dad if he'd go with me. I was pretty surprised how easy it was to impress Dad with this one little merit badge, so I figured a whole weekend of him seeing me doing macho stuff would totally blow him away. But yesterday morning, I woke up as sick as a dog. I couldn't go, but Dad had to, because he signed up as a driver. I stayed in bed pretty much the whole day. I wish I'd gotten sick on a weekday instead of a weekend. Last year didn't miss any days at school, and I promised myself I wouldn't let that happen again. The father-son camping trip turned out to be a disaster. The phone rang at 10 o'clock last night, and it was Dad calling from the emergency room. Dad got put in a tent with the Woodley brothers, Darren and Marcus, because their dad couldn't come. Darren and Marcus were horsing around in the tent, even though Dad kept telling them to go to sleep. And at one point, Darren threw a football at Marcus, and it hit him in the stomach. Marcus wet his pants, and Darren thought it was pretty funny. Well, Marcus went totally berserk. He bit Darren, and he wouldn't let go either. It took Dad a long time to pry the two of them apart, and he had to take Darren to the emergency room after that. Dad came home this morning, and he was not real happy with me for getting him stuck in this situation. Something tells me that after this weekend, he's not a real big fan of Troop 133 either. Sunday. Today was Mother's Day, and I didn't have anything to give to Mom. I was going to ask Dad to take me to the store so I could get Mom a card or something, but Dad was still recovering from this father-son workout. I don't think he was looking to do me any favors anyway. So I had to come up with a homemade gift. Last year I made Mom a chore coupon book for Mother's Day. Each coupon had something like 1 free lawn mowing or 1 free window washing on it. I gave Dad a chores coupon book just about every Father's Day, and it always works out great. It's a way for me to take care of my gift obligation without actually having to spend any money. And Dad never actually uses any of the coupons in this book. Mom cashed in every single one of her coupons last year, so I didn't want to make the same mistake this year. I'm going up to Rally's to play video games, right after you polish all the silverware. I tried to think of something original to make for Mom today, but I ran out of time, so I ended up just piggybacking on Manny's gift. Monday. I figured the best way to get Dad to forget that father-son camping mess is to have a do-over. So tonight at dinner, I asked Dad if he wanted to go on a camping trip, just me and him. I have been studying on my Boy Scouts manual, and I'm pretty eager to show off what I've learned. Well, Dad didn't exactly jump at my offer, but Mom thought it was a great idea. She said we should go this weekend, and Roger should go too. She said it'd be a great bonding experience for the three of us. I wasn't too enthusiastic about that idea, and neither was Roderick. In fact, one of the reasons I wanted to get out of the house this weekend was because me and Roderick are in a fight. Last night, Mom was giving Roderick a haircut in the kitchen. Usually when Mom gives us boys a haircut, she puts a towel around our necks so the hair doesn't get all over our clothes. But yesterday, Mom used one of her old maternity dresses instead of a towel, so when I saw Roderick like that, I knew I had to take advantage of the situation. I ran upstairs and locked myself in the bathroom before Roderick had a chance to catch me and take the camera. Roger got me back anyway. Last night I had a nightmare that I was sleeping on a nest of red ants. That was thanks to him. The way I see it now, we're even. But there's one thing I learned about Roderick. It's that he's not going to let it go. So that's why I'm not that eager to hole up in a tent with him for the whole weekend. Saturday. Today, me, Dad, and Roderick headed off on our camping trip. I picked a place that had a lot of manly activities that you could do. On the way to the campground, the sky got dark and then it started to rain. But I wasn't all that concerned because our tent is waterproof. And Mom packed panchos for everybody, but by the time we got to our campsite, it was 6 inches underwater. We were pretty far from home, and Dad decided that we should just find a place to stay for the night. I was really bummed because the whole point of the trip was to impress Dad with my camping skills, and now we're just going to stay in some stupid hotel room. Dad found a place and got a room with 2 beds and a pull-out couch. We watched TV for a while and then started getting ready for bed. First, Dad went downstairs to the front desk and complained that the heater was too loud, so I was alone in the room with Roderick. I went to the bathroom to brush my teeth, and when I came out, Roderick was looking out the peephole. Then he said something that made me freeze in my tracks. He said that Holly Hills and her family were out in the hallway, and they were staying in the room right across from us. This I had to see for myself, so I moved him out of the way and looked out the peephole. The hallway was completely empty, and before I realized it was a trick, Roger gave me a big shove and I fell out the door. And then it got worse. Roger locked the door behind me and I was stuck in the hallway wearing nothing but my tidy whities. I pounded on the door, but Roger wouldn't let me back in the room. I was making a big racket and I started realizing that people in the nearby rooms were gonna start opening their doors to find out what was going on. So I ran around the corner to save myself from the embarrassment of anyone seeing me. I spent about 15 minutes sneaking through the hallway, hiding every time I heard voices. I was gonna go back to our room and beg Roger to let me in, and then I realized I didn't even know our room number. And all the doors looked exactly the same to me. I couldn't exactly go down to the front desk either. The only option I had was to try and find Dad. Then I remembered Dad's a drunk food addict. And I knew he'd eventually turn up at the vending machine, so that's where I camped out. Well, I wedged myself in between the soda machine and the candy machine and waited. I had to wait a really long time, but Dad did finally show up. You know what, though? After seeing the look on Dad's face, I kind of just wish I'd sucked it up and gone to the front desk instead. Sunday. Well, after our camping trip, I'm pretty sure there's no chance I can convince Dad to change his mind about Spag Union. So at this point, I'm not even gonna bother trying. I realize there's only about 3 more weeks until I get shipped out, so I figured this is my last chance to make a play for Holly Hills. If I'm lucky, maybe I can make some good memories with me to his military academy. My summer won't be that bad.
What are you smiling about, Private?
I've been working up the nerve to talk for Holly Hills for a long time, and I decided it was now or never. When we went to church today, I tried to make sure we sat right near the Hills family, but we didn't have 2 rows in front of them, which I guess was close enough, and during the part where everyone shakes hands with one another, I made my move. Peace be with you, Holly Hills. The handshaking thing was actually just step 1 in a 2-part plan. The second part would come tonight. My next tip is to call Holly on the phone, use the handshaking thing to get the conversation started. At dinner tonight, I told everyone that I needed to make a very important call, so everyone should stay off the phone. But I guess Roger wasn't figured I was gonna call a girl because he took all the handsets and hid them. That meant the only way to make a call was to use his speakerphone in the kitchen, but there was no way that was happening. I told Mom that Roger that took all the phones and she made him return them where they all belonged. Eventually, Roderick went down to the basement. Later on, I snuck into Mom and Dad's room to make my call. I turned off the lights so Roderick wouldn't know I was in there, and I hid under a blanket. Then I waited for about 20 minutes to make sure he hadn't followed me. Before I had a chance to dial Holly's number, someone walked in the room and turned on the lights. I thought for sure it was Dad. Roderick, but it wasn't. It was Dad. I decided to stay perfectly still and let Dad get whatever he needed and leave. But Dad didn't leave. He got into a bed and started reading a book. I should have just uncovered myself the second Dad walked in the room because now I couldn't just give up and walk out or give him a heart attack. So I decided to just sneak out of the room real slow. I moved about an inch a second. I figured it would take me a half hour to make to the end of the room, but there would still be enough time to call Holly after that. I was only about 5 feet from the room when the phone in my hand rang and scared the living daylights out of me. I think Dad really did have a heart attack, and once he recovered, he didn't look too happy to see me. Dad made me get out of his room, and then he slammed the door. I'm sure this episode didn't help my standing with Dad, but I guess at this point, it's probably too late anyway. Tuesday. 2 days have already passed since I shook hands with Holly, and I didn't want any more time to go by before I spoke with her again. Luckily, Dad and Roger weren't home tonight, so I knew I could make a phone call without being bothered. I practiced what I was going to say about a million times, and then I finally worked up the nerve to make the call. I dialed Holly's number, and then the phone started ringing. But right then, Mom picked up the phone downstairs. Mom has this really bad habit of just dialing without checking to see if anyone's using the phone, and that's what she did tonight. I tried to stop her, but it was no use. The phone kept ringing at the Hills house, and then someone picked it up. It was Holly's mother. Mom was really confused, and she didn't dial the Hills number in the first place. I just held my breath and waited for it all to be over. It took Mom and Mrs. Hills a minute to figure out who was on the other end of the line, but once it did, it just started chatting like nothing strange was happening at all. They got through this long conversation about the PTA, the fundraising committee, and stuff like that. I couldn't really hang out because then Mom would hear the click and know someone else was on the other end. Eventually, the conversation between Mom and Mrs. Hills turned towards me. Called his brother a ploopy, At that point, I just put the phone down and went to bed. I figured that a phone call between me and Holly is meant to be, so I'm officially giving up. Friday. Today at school, I heard Holly tell a couple of friends that she was going to meet them at the roller skating rink tonight. And a light bulb went on over my head. After school, I asked Mom if she'd take me to the roll-around tonight. And she said yes, but I have to get a ride home from someone else's parents. So I invited Raleigh along. As soon as Raleigh showed up at my front door, I knew I made a mistake inviting him. Raleigh had his hair all teased up, and he was dressed up like his favorite singer, Joshy. And I think Raleigh might have even been wearing sparkly lip gloss, but I can't say for sure. I can stop to worry about the way Raleigh looked, though, because I had my own problems. Earlier on, I lost one of my contact lenses, so that meant I had to wear my backup glasses. The lenses on those things are about 3 inches thick, and they look ridiculous. If I'm not wearing my contact lenses or my glasses, I'm as blind as a bat. I guess I should just feel lucky I was alive during caveman times, because I wouldn't have been able to hunt or do anything useful. I'm sure my tribe mates would have ditched me the first chance they got. I probably would have had to become a wise man or something to just make sure I was worth keeping around. On the ride to the roller skating rink tonight, I gave Riley some instructions on how to behave if I got into a conversation with Holly Hills knowing him. Knowing him, he could seriously hurt my chances with her. I wish I would have waited until the end of the conversation. I wish I had waited until we were out of the car because Mom overheard our conversation.
Holly Hills was the only 4-year-old at the preschool who was not potty trained.
La 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 la, I cannot hear you. When we pull out the ring around, I got out of the car before Mom could say anything else I didn't want to hear. Me and Raleigh paid our admission and then went inside. We rented skates and brought them over to the arcade area where I scoped out the whole scene. I spotted Holly over by the snack bar. She was with a bunch of her friends and I wasn't really ready to go up and talk to her yet. At 9 o'clock, the DJs announced a couple skate. A lot of people were pairing up and Holly was sitting at the table all alone. I knew this was the chance I was waiting for. I started making my way over to her, but getting on skates is a lot harder than I thought it would be. I had to hug the wall just to stay on my feet. It was taking forever. And I realized that the song was going to be over by the time I got to Holly, so I just got down my butt and scooted over to her to speed things up. I almost got run over a couple of times, but I finally made it to the snack bar. Holly was still there, sitting by herself. Time was running out, so I had to take a shortcut through a puddle of soda to get to her. On my way across the snack bar, I tried to work out what I was going to say to Holly. I realized I wasn't looking the coolest at the moment, so I knew I was going to have to say something pretty smooth to make up for it. But before I even had a chance to open my mouth, Holly said 4 words to change everything.
Isn't your name Fregley?
I started to tell her I was Greg Heffley, the guy from the Doggy dropped a joke. But then the couple skates ended, and Holly's friend swooped in and pulled her out into the reek. I made my way back into the arcade, and that's where I stayed for the rest of the night. Because believe me, I was not in the mood for skating. You know, I probably should have realized a long time ago that Holly wasn't worth my time. Someone who would mistake me for Fregley, it definitely has something wrong with them. I'm officially done with girls. I should just ask Dad to see if the SPAC unit has any early admissions, because there's no point in me sticking around anymore. Friday. Today was the last day of school and everybody was in a good mood, but me. Everyone else is looking forward to having fun this summer, but all I've got to look forward to is sit-ups and marching drills. At lunch, everyone handed their yearbooks around for people to sign, and when I got mine, here it was on the last page. Don't be a fool. Be cool. Slick. At first, I couldn't figure out who Slick was, but then I realized it was just Raleigh. A couple of days ago, Raleigh was standing near an older kid's locker, and the guy wanted Raleigh to move. So here's what the guy said. Step away from my locker, Slick. So I guess now Raleigh thinks Slick is his permanent nickname or something. I just hope he doesn't expect me to say it. I've looked through the pages to see who else signed on my yearbook, and there was one that made me stop in my tracks. It was from Holly Hills. First of all, she wrote my actual name, so that means she figured out who I was since Friday night. And second, she wrote K-I-T at the end. So, which everyone knows means keep in touch. You better believe I'm going to take her up on that offer.
Greg, I don't really know you all that well, but you seem okay, I guess.
Keep in touch, Holly. I had my yearbook to Raleigh to show him what Holly wrote, but then he showed me what she wrote in his yearbook. It made mine kind of look lame.
Dear Raleigh, you are so adorable and funny. Hope we have the same homeroom next year. Stay cute. Love, Holly.
A couple of minutes later, Holly's yearbook came around and I had a chance to sign it. So here's what I put. Dear Holly, you're a nice person and all, but I only think of you as a friend. From Slick. The way I see it, I just did Raleigh a huge favor. I don't want to see him get his heart stomped on by Holly Hills. Because the truth is, girls can be a little cruel sometimes. Saturday. Today was my only day of summer vacation. I had to spend at Seth Snella's half-birthday party. I asked Mom to let me stay home so I could enjoy myself, but she said we were going to the party as a family. Dad didn't even bother finding it because he knew he wasn't getting out of it either. So at 1 o'clock, we walked across the street to Snella's house. The Snellas really did it up this year. They had a clown making balloon animals and a moon bounce for the kids. They even had live music. Roger was pretty sore over that his band, Willow Diaper, was turned down for the job, even though they tried out. Everyone ate lunch, but then at 3:30, the main event started. Mr. and Mrs. Snella had the adults line up in front of Seth, and they all took turns to try and make him smile. Mr. Henrich went first. I noticed Dad looking really nervous at the back of the line. At one point, I walked by Dad to get myself some pancakes, and he stopped me. He told me if I could get him out of the situation, he'd owe me big time. I thought it was pretty ironic that Dad would be asking me for a favor, especially since he's the one who's shipping me off to military school tomorrow, so I was fine with letting him squirm. But that doesn't mean I don't want to see my dad acting like a baboon in front of the whole neighborhood either. I thought about sneaking myself home to spare myself the shame. That's when I saw Manny on the other side of the deck poking around Seth's presents. Manny found the present that was from our family. He ripped it open. As soon as I saw what it was, I knew things were about to get complicated. It was a blue knit blanket, just like the one Manny used to have as a baby. And you could tell that Manny thought he had found himself a brand new tingy. I went over to Manny and told him he was going to have to hand over the blanket because it was for the baby and not him. But Manny wouldn't cough it up. When Manny realized I was going to take away the blanket, he just turned around and chucked it over the railing. The blanket landed in a branch of a tree. I knew I had to get it back before Mom found out, so I got off the deck and started climbing up the tree. Right when I was about to grab the blanket, my foot slipped and I was left hanging there. I tried to pull myself back up, but I didn't have the strength. I probably would have been able to do it, but the only thing I had to eat today was grape soda and the frosting off a piece of cake. So I had no energy. I yelled for help, but I really wish I didn't. Because right then, everyone came over to see what was going on, and my pants came loose and fell down around my ankles. It wouldn't have happened if I was wearing my own pants. But I never washed my dress pants after they got that chocolate over them, so I was borrowing a pair of Roger's pants, which were about 2 sizes too big for me. The situation was humiliating enough, but then I realized something worse. I was wearing my Wonder Woman underoos. Eventually, Dad ran over and helped me get down, but not before Mr. Snell got the whole thing on tape. And something tells me that this time around, he has a good shot at the America's Funniest Family grand prize. After that, Dad hustled me home, and I thought he was going to be really mad at me. But it turns out that my accident happened right when Dad was up to go in front of Seth Snella. So I saved him from having to take his turn. Hey, get this. Dad thinks I faked the whole thing to bail him out. That's my son. I was about to correct him either. I made myself a big bowl of ice cream, sat down in front of the TV, and tried to enjoy the rest of my one day of freedom as best as I could. Sunday. When I woke up this morning, it was 11:15. I couldn't figure out why I was so in bed because Dad was supposed to drive me to Spag Union at 8. So I went downstairs. Dad was sitting at the kitchen table and he wasn't even dressed yet. When I walked into the kitchen, Dad told me that we could rethink this military academy thing. He said I could just do some push-ups and sit-ups every once in a while, and that would be as good as the summer conditioning program at Spag Union. I couldn't believe my ears. I guess Dad had felt like he owed me for saving him yesterday, and this was his way of paying me back. I walked out of the house and went up to Rally's before Dad could change his mind. And on my way up the hill, I realized I was on summer vacation. I knocked on Rally's door, and when he answered, I told him I didn't have to go to Spag Union after all. Rally didn't even know who I was talking about, so that just shows how clueless he can be sometimes. We played Rally's Twisted Wizard 2 for a while, then his parents kicked us out of the house, so we grabbed some popsicles and went and sat at the front curb. You'll never believe what happened next. A really cute girl that I'd never seen walked up to us and introduced herself. She said her name was Trista and that she just moved in from the street. I looked at Rella and it was obvious that he was thinking what I was thinking, so it took me about 2 seconds to come up with a plan. But then I had a better idea. Rally's family belongs to a country club, and he's allowed to bring 2 guests to his pool every day, so that could actually work out real nice. It It looks like things are finally going my way. And you know what? It's about time. I don't know anyone who deserves to catch a break more than me. Because like I said, I'm pretty much one of the best people I know. And I know it's really corny to finish off with a happy ending, but it looks like I'm out of paper anyway, so I guess this is the end. And I is Diary from Wimpy Kid, The Last Straw. Thank you for watching the video, and make sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button if you liked it, but to be honest, I really don't care. I'll try to get the next one out as soon as possible, but see ya, I guess.